There's a lot of superheroes out there, but few of them can do what this gecko can. Let me introduce you to our amazing hero, the house gecko. Native to the Indian subcontinent and Southeast Asia, these little guys are famous for their climbing abilities. They can scale walls so smooth they'd put Spider-Man to shame. But how do they do it? Are they stronger than Thor? They have some kind of sticky superpower? Well, not exactly. Instead, it all comes down to the tiniest parts of their bodies, their toes. See, at the tips of each toe, they have these small, flat, dry scales, which are made of a protein called keratin. And these scales are shaped in a very particular way. They're long and narrow and curved like a hook. The shape of these scales gives the gecko an advantage when it comes to climbing. Now, if you look at the bottom of your shoe, you'll see that it's smooth, just like the bottom of a wall. When a gecko presses its toe against a smooth surface, the narrow, flat scales on its toes dig into the tiny grooves of the surface, giving them something to grip onto. These grooves are too small for us to see with our naked eye. But we know they're there because we can actually hear the geckos climbing. As the gecko moves, its toes make a tapping sound as they hit the end of those grooves. Scientists figured this out by recording the sounds geckos make while climbing and then playing them back. After a lot of slow-motion footage and some very clever science, they were able to figure out that these sounds were coming from the toes of the geckos. So we know that the shape of these scales helps them climb, but how do the geckos keep from slipping between those ridges? Well, it turns out that the spaces in between the ridges is where the magic happens. You see, normally when we touch something, our fingers leave an oily mark on it because our skin has oils and waxes on it that get transferred onto whatever we're retouching. But a gecko's toes don't work like that. Instead, they have these dry, flat scales, so their toes don't slip and slide around. They stay put. But there's one thing that can stop these little superheroes in their tracks: water. Water can make the undersides of their feet soggy, which means they lose their grip. And it also makes those tiny grooves fill up, so the geckos can't fit their claws into them anymore. So if a gecko gets wet, it will wait until it dries off before it tries to climb again. But even with these amazing adaptations, it's still pretty hard for geckos to climb really smooth surfaces. That's why you'll often see them climbing on walls that have some texture to them, like brick or stucco or on glass. Glass is actually one of the hardest surfaces for geckos to climb, but they can do it if they have to. And scientists are still trying to understand exactly how these tiny details on a gecko's toe translate into such amazing climbing abilities. If we can figure that out, maybe we can develop some new materials that can help us climb better too. Or maybe we could make some great advances in the field of robotics. Imagine a robot that could climb up a wall like a gecko. It would be so cool. But for now, I think my favorite part of this story is that a tiny little lizard can do something that most humans couldn't, thanks to the clever details of its body. If you liked learning about how geckos can climb walls, you can learn more about other amazing animals on our channel. So click on that subscribe button and come along.